and pens and start writing all this stuff down. So,
All right.
Andre, back to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'll actually post, well, this presentation, if you download the PDF that's on our website, is from the Hamvention. It's fairly close. I did add some things in it, but it's already up there if you're interested in it. So carrying on then,
We talked about the case of this little USB dongle, the AR-150, $29.
and I thought that it might be valuable to
Illustrate some of these devices and the power that they output and the gain the antenna provides, and sort of translate that into usable distances and bandwidth and so forth. Well, at the top of the list is MikroTik, the BaseFox 5 with the Rocket Dish. The Rocket Dish is a ubiquity antenna, but if you marry those two together, then you have power of 30 dBm.
gain of 30 dBi for a isotropic effective radiated power of 60 dB. That's enough to get you 50, 60 miles.
That's a kilowatt.
That is a kilowatt. Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe even microwave for popcorn. No, but the Ubiquiti Rocket M5 and the Rocket Dish will actually is slightly below that 3 dB down. Will also get you out to that sort of distance. But you get lower than that, and the distance between nodes, or the link length, decreases down to the well, they make a smaller dish than the one that I passed around, and that's what they call the
LDF 5 NDs, and it gets you 45 dB of IDRP, which is good for 30, 35 miles easily.
So
Here's how the network is sort of constructed. I talked about backbone links. I described Mount Palomar and Mount Otay as two mountains that have Arden nodes on them.
And I'm using the Red Cross as an example. I'm not trying to suggest sponsorship from them. I got to be very careful about what I say here because of the presence of the Red Cross here. I'm actually a disaster services comm team member myself.
You're fine. No problems with us.
But anyway, the image of the Red Cross.
Brings to mind disaster response services. And there happens to be a permanent link between the local chapter office of the Red Cross in Mount Otay. And let's say then that they deploy cabs with Go kits that are comprised of a high gain antenna pointed up to the mountaintop and a Wi-Fi radius that supports the local user base. Then the communications happens sort of like that. Well, the thinking people in the crowd would say, well, wait a minute, it assumes that you have to have a line of sight with between the deployed Go kit and the
backbone node. And we know that's not always true, so what we do is we introduce
a fixed or deployed relay node or mid-mile node that will allow an alternate path to the backbone. Now, where this relay node ends up being deployed is kind of critical, and we have ways using RF modeling software to determine that. But effectively, there isn't a spot in Southern California that can't be serviced with a deployed Go kit and potentially one of these relay nodes. So you may have noticed some symbols next to some of these devices, and I put them there to sort of jog your memory. The backbone uses this little T symbol, suggesting that backbone links connect distant backbone nodes together. And they also, the downward arrow suggests that they also provide network services downward to the lower lying areas. The relay nodes on the right here are simply passing traffic directly between the backbone nodes and the deployed nodes. And of course, this little line here describes the deployed nodes at the ham zone. And there's some attributes that are described there. I really won't go into detail about design considerations, but nodes are chosen based on what role they play in the network and the distances involved. So this is what the backbone looks like in Southern California. And it is essentially coverage within the county first and foremost, and then links that connect those counties together. So, I'll just take you through this. This is the Red Cross, OTI. This is actually Laguna, which isn't operational. I should remove it. But,
We don't have a mouse if that's what you're trying to do.
don't have a what?
There's no mouse if you're trying to show up.
Oh, yeah. Well,
There it is.
Yeah, kind of hard for me to do. Yeah, right, yeah. Okay, so this is Laguna, which doesn't exist. But someday I hope to be there. And then Palomar, and then, oh, this is a Qualcomm. They have on their, one of the buildings in Sierra Mesa. And then this is San Marcos Peak. And Elsinore Peak, covering the Temecula in that area. And this is up to Rialto, Snow Peak, that covers down into the Coachella Valley. This is Pleasance Peak, which has a huge coverage area from Riverside all the way around to northern Orange County. And you know what, I'm just not familiar with these. I know one of these is Mount Wilson, I think the other one's JPL. And I don't really know the mountaintops up there. I do have some photos of that area up there, but I just don't have first-hand knowledge of it.
And of course, we're fortunate here in Southern California to have a vertical dimension to work with.
Many areas of the country are flatlands, and many areas have lots of trees, which are challenges for this technology. You really need to be above them. But we don't have those struggles here. This is the Palomar node looking south to Otay. You can't see Otay in the distance because of the haze. That sits at 6,200 feet. And then this is also Mount Palomar. One of these is 3 gigahertz, and one of them is 2 gigahertz. Now, these are sectors, or sector antennas and ubiquity rockets. And the sector antennas are specifically designed to be very wide, like 120 degrees, for example, and very narrow in terms of their vertical radiation pattern. And they look very similar to cell sector antennas. They're a little smaller just because they're higher in frequency than 800 and 900 megahertz bands anyway. But they're very effective in delivering the network too, because the power is focused, concentrated in this swatch that is meant to be from the horizon and lower.
In terms of antenna patterns.
Club repeaters sites are a big boon, an easy and usually cheap way of getting these backbone nodes together. This happens to be on Mount Otay, and you can see there's the ditch pointed north to Palomar and the 2 gigahertz sector that points out to the greater San Diego area. You can't see the 3 gigahertz sector. It sits on the south tower. For those of you that are familiar with Otay, there's a pair of towers, and the 3 gigahertz node is on the west side of the southern tower. The nice thing about club sites is you generally don't have a lot of QRM from internet service providers that are using the Part 15 channels.
That are adjacent to the ham bands as it relates to 2 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz anyway. 3 gigahertz, we are the primary users of, and wireless ISPs don't have any offering on 3 gigahertz. So, but anyway, club sites are the primary locations. Sometimes you end up being forced to be on commercial towers. These 2 towers are up on Elsinore Peak, overlooking Lake Elsinore, and I have I think I have a total of 6 nodes, 2 node clusters, on one on each of these 2 towers, and the benefits of the commercial towers is they are generally well placed. These commercial entities want to serve wireless ISPs and other
consumers of our microwave. The towers are often much taller and more robust, and some of them may be ham-owned, as is the case here in Lake Elsinore, where there's a ham that owns and operates this site, and has made us a good deal on the rates for tenancy here on these towers. Another approach to this is a self-contained backbone. This one's in Camarillo Hills, and you can see the link to the nearest backbone, and you can see a sector antenna over here delivering downward to the populated area. And some examples of relay sites. This is one in the wild. I honestly don't know where it is. I like the picture so much I included it. But you can see it's got a dish that goes off to the backbone, and looks like a nano station, which is a lower powered, shorter distance links type device, but effective out to maybe 14, 15 miles. So here's Chatsworth Peak out in Ventura County. This photo here is shot from behind, and this one is from the front, same site. Again, the sector antenna and the dish to the backbone. This one here is on Saddleback Peak, and it's 2, 3, and 5 gigahertz sector antennas, which are covering the San Juan Capistrano and that area. You can see the gray hair, the fox anyway. And he apparently has an interest in the shaded area underneath the solar panel there. And they do have an environmental monitoring system
that's kind of unique. There's a remote control camera up underneath this Marie Callender.
my blade. And when they want to know how hot it is, they just look down at the thermometer with the camera.
Yeah.
You can't ever forget the old-fashioned way.
Also, there are many of these implementers that are
are finding water towers that municipalities will put nodes on. And here's an example of a deployed node. This happens to be a field day site in Valley Center, maybe several years ago. But it's comprised of, remember that dish network dish? Well, that has been coupled with a nano station. This was before we came out with the microchip version that passed around. But that's pointed up to Mount Palomar, which you won't see, but it's off in the haze back here. Back in the haze back here somewhere. And then distribution to the people at their end.
field day site is from this dish, which covers the area you see down here.
Where all the hands were contested. We also take advantage of office space for those that are working in multi-story buildings. Nano station in the window can oftentimes be
An effective access point to the network. And we use radio mobile extensively.
to determine coverage areas and predict where relay nodes need to be. And this is an example of the coverage map.
Is installed, and it's not, of course, area for them. Now you add relay nodes at Qualcomm, at San Marcos Peak, at potentially Soledad, potentially Woodson, and suddenly a lot of these non-green areas get lit up. So if you're interested in this technology, and I will say that I'm delighted that Cecil and I have partnered on some of these locations, and if you don't mind me describing it. Yeah, so we can provide backup network links between your DMR sites, and in exchange, Cecil can provide physical hosting for sites for the Arden network. So it's a very very effective partnership, and I look forward to many years of that. But if you're interested in Arden, I encourage you to visit our ardenmesh.org website. And there's extensive documentation. Here's 3 examples. It starts with an Arden overview on the left, and then goes through selecting hardware, downloading the firmware, installing that firmware, aligning the links. That's the second one in the middle. And then how you monitor the network and model the network, and how you get chat programs and email programs running on the network. And then the window on the right illustrates the fact that we even have instructions down to specific applications like WinLink and how you get that configured to work on Arden. So let's talk about once the network is in place and you've got a link to it, how are you going to use Arden? And this used to be a challenging topic a couple of years ago, because we had the network in place, but then we didn't have any people using it because the tools weren't in place. But nowadays, public safety and public service are all being used across
It, Red Cross Master Services is experimenting with it and will likely implement. The CERT teams in Del Mar and Oceanside are currently this technology.
Okay.
So he knows
It just went out again.
The Delmar
That went out
group is
again.
particularly interesting because they have a backpack-based
System that has a battery, has a Wi-Fi access point, and has an Arden node. And as they go around doing disaster assessments, they will note those assessments on either their cell phone or their tablet, and that then will communicate with the Wi-Fi node in the backpack and the mesh node to get off to the broader network, so that the EOC in Delmar can get rapid information back from these CERT team members.
Oh, it's a switch now. I didn't know. Okay, we're gonna have to leave it on.
Yeah. But PBXs and voice over IP telephony.
is a big hit on the network. There are many people, and there's actually an Arden dialing plan for these phones, and there are a couple of groups in Southern California that do nets via telephone. They dial a conference number, and they all get on that party line, and they treat it much like a control net we participate in over VHF or UHF.
Chat is a texting app that allows
Allows users to message each other, particularly when you have a team of deployed hams that you want to communicate with. Node management, the folks that have the backbone links utilize software such as this to manage the nodes. This particular software is provided by Ubiquiti, and this is for managing the tough switch. Comes in 5 and 8 port versions, and it allows you to turn the power over Ethernet off and back on again if you needed a power resetter node without having to physically access it. Another tool for network monitoring is SNMP, or Simple Network Management Protocol. It's a tool that
an Arden node will respond to with data when interrogated by a central network management system. And that data can be used to determine node throughput, byte counts at any given time, go, no go, is it operational, is it not? You can see the green indicators.
are obviously positive indications. The red, which happens to be disk utilization in this case, happens to be the red. And collaborative work tools. Those of us that have had careers, or do have careers in IT, or perhaps at most any company nowadays, they collaborate via tools, and in this case, it's called Mattermost, which is a collaborative tool. But what's unique about it is they have a free version that you can load up on a Raspberry Pi and make it available to your group as a means of collaborating during times of disaster or as a preparation for disasters. A couple of examples of map-based ENCOM management systems. This one's called ENCOM Map. It was written by Ham up in the LA area. It's very similar to an application called Tickets, which is also map-based and allows
for you to schedule and keep track of resources wherever they may be. let's say you assign a ham to a given site.
Site that goes into this system, you say you then want to transfer him to another shelter or another part of the disaster area, you put that in there so that you can be alarmed when he's expected to be there, and if he's not there, start worrying about him and so forth. All-star management via a web GUI, that's a common practice. iStar, another common tool that's used on the network. File sharing, or FTP, is also common. This ends up being so it's in San Diego area, as a matter of fact, as I see SDR Sharp. But it allows you to get your hands on documentation that you may not have with you during disaster. Video conferencing is common. Some of the large HD, high definition video streams are probably less popular because they consume a lot of the network, but applications that have relatively low bandwidth, small pictures, as illustrated here, Teapot, are very usable. There are a number of hams that are monitoring air traffic using the new ADSB SDR dongles that are available. And some ARES sites are using it from an informational perspective, not only describing the organization and who they are and how to get a hold of them, but also where their nodes are, what bandwidth and bands they're operating on, and so forth. So that concludes the presentation. If you want more information, I would encourage you to go to ardenmesh.org.
If you want some background on this technology, there are a number of
articles, but I don't mean to boast. There are a number of articles that I've written about QST and the CAPR ARRL Data Communications Conference proceedings in both 2015 and 2016. Any questions?
If somebody if one of us adds a node, what applications do you allow on the system, and how do you control it? I would think it would eventually get kind of boggled down.
Well, so in order for an application to
consume a network resource, it has to have a user that's remote from where the services are, right? So if you have a valuable service to hands and you're willing to stand up that service on a computer at your home, then the network is there to support you. When I originally started building the backbone network, I decided against organizational sponsorship. I decided, I personally had been part of an ARES group that was very committed to MCOM, and due to politics, that organization fell apart. Some of you may remember those days. I didn't want to see an organization put priority on their own communications
to the expense of other hand uses for it. So my policy is anybody can use the backbone that is a hand. Now, having said that, we are in the process of developing a quality of service-based prioritization on traffic. So if a particular node is designated as currently serving the disaster needs, then it will have priority over other traffic. But that would only apply during the actual disaster.
And that still doesn't mean that you don't have bandwidth to do what you want to do. Responses may slow down, right?
Andre, are you online? Your computer, are you online?
I am not. I can show you some of the Arden software by plugging in my little
No, I was gonna ask you to bring up your, on QRZ, bring up your call sign and show them your car.
Show them my car.
The Toyota
Oh,
with the porcupine roof.
oh, I got you.
Command vehicle.
Command vehicle.
Yeah, I like that truck.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
So, when you have time, go look at Case AH, look him up, and scroll down to the bottom and take a look at his vehicle.
Yeah, that particular photo, to be
Fair
fair.
was outfitted for the June VHF contest some years ago. And so I was actually radioactive.
From 80 meters all the way through 10 gigahertz and every single band in between. And I had the honor of winning the June VHF contest that year as a rover. There are a certain number of different categories, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't really do that anymore. But
Not enough time.
Has this network been used yet in an emergency
Yeah, that's a
situation?
really good
question, it would
Would it
be
be risky to pray for a disaster? So there haven't.
the short answer is no, at least domestically that I'm aware of. However, there are two instances where an Arden network has been effective during a disaster.
Both of them were in the same area. Several townships in South Africa were devastated by wildfires, and hams in the area had proactively set up between all the disaster agencies, the fire, the police, the Red Cross, whatever type of Red Cross organization they had there. They all had Arden nodes, and it ended up being the only communications mechanism that all of the agencies could communicate with, which agencies will talk a lot about how great their technology is. And, well, maybe we don't need this because we have a network that is designed not to fail. But there are other reasons for having it as well. I mean, even if it does persist through disaster, how are you then going to communicate with other logistics groups, health organizations, and so forth during that time?
Any other questions?
How is the security on this? Because I know with Part 97 you can't do encryption, but I know you could do certification.
Yeah. So first, let me say there
There
are.
are a number of schools of thought and interpretations of Part 97. And even the ARRL and their emergency communications course, EC 001, they will state plainly that if your primary purpose of obfuscating a piece of information is not to prevent others from seeing it, then that part of the regulation doesn't apply. And let me give you a couple of examples. Let's say that you're part of the ARES organization and you're stationed at a hospital and you're conveying information between the hospital and the EOC. And a message comes along that on a IC S213 that says patient number 84789 and 84722 are not serviceable at this hospital. Recommend transfer to County General. So now the reason the doctor or the administrator has done that is to obfuscate the patient name and put an ID in its place. But strictly, you're not allowed to pass that traffic. If you interpret it that way, you would not pass it. Well, I have not known a ham that wasn't willing to pass the message. So I would say that The Arden nodes do not encrypt. There is no facility for encrypting in the Arden network. But that isn't to say that a customer who connects through the Arden network to a internet-based service, I'll use the Red Cross Safe and Well application as an example, where people that are impacted by the disaster are given access to a laptop to connect to the Safe and Well service and tell all their friends and whomever's interested that they're safe and well. That's an encrypted link, and that means that any information that's passed between that laptop and that internet-based service is encrypted. But the Arden network never had a purpose to encrypt it. So, I'm going to even suggest that that's even for interpretation. So, my policy here in San Diego is to allow it. Now, there's some policing that goes on automatically with that, and it's because if you turn on internet access at your own home, and you can offer it to others on the Arden network. If you do so, you quickly find out that hams are pretty thrifty folks, and they would much rather use your internet access than pay for their own. So suddenly the whole network ends up being congested by you becoming their internet service provider. So nobody is really willing to turn that switch on, right? But if it got to the point where the EOC needed to get to their web EOC, which is the software they use to manage disasters, then I think the answer is going to be, yeah, I'm going to do that any day of the week if they ask me.
So, and I would also say that the problem is not whether these services can be encrypted.
During a disaster, it's all about whether they can be used in a non-disaster during drills and, because during a disaster, as a ham, you're able to provide communications to these agencies any way you find you are able. And these restrictions in Part 97 don't apply during disaster. These are all very good questions.
Any others? Okay, well, I'm very much grateful to Cecil.
Cecil for letting me present today. I hope some of it was fresh. I presented to this group about, 4 or 5 years ago. But it was a very different project back then, and it's come a long way. So thanks for your time and attention.
Andre, thank you.
So as Andre pointed out, if you need or would like to find more information, go online, ardenmesh.org. Take a look at it. But we really appreciate you coming down or coming to the meeting and letting us or updating us to where you're at. For those that are interested, you saw parts and pieces, and maybe it's time to increase the capability of your shack. All right.
The generosity of the group has made available 2 grant prizes, and thanks to the effort of Steve knocking on the door, we're going to have 2 grant prizes out of the 3, and the choice will be yours. So let's go for the first one, and we'll get this young lady to pull out. Now, if you pull out your ticket, you don't count.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would, you might take money.
You want access to
Just one.
that.
You ever take it?
Yeah, well, CSP
The
tells.
last 3 digits.
Really?
Yeah, some contacts from CSP.
Last 3 digits.
So, Chris Dula, Chris is one of the, he's the guy that maintains.
848.
Yeah. 848.
He's on.
We have a couple.
There we go, over here.
Away from all the other.
Last three numbers, 848?
There you go.
AM6 BKK.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on up here.
Make your permit.
I have a look.
And don't forget my grant books.
Dealing with power.
Yeah, because they'll want to certify it. With liability.
Fence.
Who is the contact?
Story program, too. Hang on.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, okay. Is Brian Cantor still involved with that? He was in
Congratulations. Thank you.
What did you ask?
929.
Oh, no, I asked him.
Right.
What? Missed it by that much. 9:30.
Choice of battery packs, stack of menus, or... This is a power supply. Yeah, battery packs, and the AC.
Yeah, right, exactly.
This was donated by Marvin.
Thanks, Marvin.
Over here.
Thank you.
All right, any last words for the group?
Commission involved here for
Next month.
All right, once again, we thank Andre for coming down and updating us.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you
Hey,
for
Marv,
lunch.
what's the retail value of that? 268 under $300.
Thank you.
All right, well, I thank you for attending our luncheon. Hopefully we'll see all of you next month, third Saturday of the month.
I would like to add
For
something.
those that are considering upgrading your status, you know, generals and techs, generals and extras, come on down, take a test, and stay for lunch. But again, thank you very much. Tip your waitress, Charles around the corner.
It's easier
We'll
to
see
have
you
me get
next
up there.
month.
I'm buying equipment.
All right, well,